Okay, and we have liftoff. So, welcome back to Critical Weight Theory, where I explore the most iconic films in cinematic history, in addition to, making other types of content. And today we're diving into one of the most beloved movies of all time, Steven Spielberg's 1982 masterpiece, according to some people out there, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It's a film that captured hearts around the world and still holds a special place in pop culture, and that's just undeniable. So grab some Reese's Pieces, phone home, and let's get into it. And oddly enough, I had Reese's Pieces yesterday, and I'm not eating them today because it might mess with my voice as I talk here. Um, I've had problems with certain types of food impacting my speaking as I do these little episodes here. So I'm not going to fall for it this time, even though I love Reese's Pieces. They're one of my favorite types of candy. And, that they just stand the test of time. I liked them when I was younger. I like them today. And I could almost make this episode about Reese's Pieces, to tell you the truth, because they're pretty delicious, and I kind of regret not having them with me as I'm as I'm recording this. But anyway, E.T. the Extraterrestrial tells the story of a gentle alien who is accidentally left behind on Earth. A young boy named Elliot discovers E.T. and forms a deep emotional connection with him. A strange connection, but a pretty compelling one for mass audiences nonetheless. Alongside his siblings, Michael and Gertie, Elliot hides E.T. from the authorities and from their mother while helping him adjust to life on Earth and deriving a sense of novelty from his existence in their suburban home. The central arc follows their efforts to return E.T. to his home planet when they realize that his health is somehow being impacted by being on Earth, and it leads to some of the most emotional and memorable scenes in film history. Again, for some people, not everyone feels the same way about this movie, and you know, I'm I'm kind of in that same boat. I'm not exactly one of those people who saw this movie as a child and was like enthralled by it or moved to tears or anything like that. I guess I was cold hearted even back then or whatever. Um, but but I do like Reese's Pieces, so that's one thing that ET and I have very much in common. So this premise of an otherworldly being providing a life force or healing force is a theme that would later appear in the film Cocoon from 1985. From what I understand, I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time. And actually, E.T. was something I hadn't seen in quite a while as well. So it was interesting to reconnect with it. And in this movie, the healing factor stuff is told through the lens of childhood innocence and wonder. So I guess it makes it even more, of a fantastical phenomenon because you've got children's and whatever involved. There's also magic that ET does, like he makes things fly around or something like that. It's a he's a force of some sort. We don't really fully understand exactly what ET is capable of, but he's also very vulnerable. It's a key theme in the movie, and Spielberg, he captures the magic and heartbreak of friendship and separation that a lot of people really connected with. The film does have a pretty decent cast. You got E.T., the titular alien, known for his curiosity, his gentle nature, and, of course, his glowing finger. There's also a scene where he dresses up humorously in drag. I guess parents weren't exaggeratedly concerned about that kind of thing back then. He's also, a sort of gender ambiguous character, you could say. There's also Elliot, played by Henry Thomas, the 10-year-old protagonist who bonds with E.T. And you know what? I'm going to look up who voiced E.T. because that's something I missed out on. I do not know offhand who voiced E.T. Let's see. It's apparently. Well, come on, goddammit, give me the search results. Oh, sorry if there are any kids listening. I guess it's Pat Welsh. She did the raspy voice of E.T. in the movie E.T. Okay. So, yeah, I did let out a GD word, but in my defense, the film E.T. itself uses the word penis breath at one point. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people were apparently not too offended by that to say, my kids can't watch this movie anymore. We're going to turn this movie off now. But anyway, Elliot is played by Henry Thomas. He's, the Elliot character is the 10-year-old protagonist who bonds with E.T. the most. You also have Drew Barrymore as Gertie, Elliot's younger sister, whose interactions with E.T. provide humor and heart. There's also Michael, played by Robert McNaughton. He's Elliot's older brother who is also a protector of E.T., but to be honest, he's kind of he's a relatively minor character, you might say. And Mary is the single mom in the movie, and she's unaware of E.T.'s presence at first. Mary is played by Dee Wallace. You know, she's a classic 1980s actress. Of course, she's been in things since the 1980s, but uh, mostly people will remember her for movies like this and Cujo, and you know, again, not to downplay the other stuff, but this was like the heyday of Dee Wallace, probably. And so here's a fun fact. Drew Barrymore's performance as Gertie was so memorable that it helped launch her career. So she would go on to appear in other movies like Cat's Eye, and well, I don't need to get in everything into everything that she's appeared in, but she was in a lot of different stuff. And of course now she's got her talk show. She's like the new and improved Ellen, a very chipper and enthusiastic person. And you know you got to figure that she wouldn't have had that career trajectory if it wasn't for E.T. Oh, and of course she also stars in the opening scenes of Scream, and so she is actually a bit of a scream queen because of that. So upon its release, E.T. became a bit of a global phenomenon. Well, not just a bit of a global phenomenon. It actually broke box office records, surpassing even Star Wars: A New Hope as the highest grossing film of all time. It was a record that was held until Jurassic Park in 1993, which is another Spielberg classic. And if I'm being honest, I do kind of prefer Jurassic Park, and I don't think it's particularly close, but E.T. is a fun family movie. And of course, the movie also popularized the iconic phrase E.T. phone home. And Spielberg's storytelling, it tapped into universal emotions of loneliness, friendship, and the longing to belong. Spielberg himself once said that many of his films, including E.T., his motivation stems from childhood feelings of isolation, and he basically revisits that theme in a number of different films throughout his career. And let's not forget the legacy beyond the screen, from merchandise and theme park attractions to countless homages in pop culture, including a video game that's considered notoriously bad, so bad that I guess they buried cartridges of it in the desert or something weird like that. I guess I guess that game is just like a legendarily bad game on the Atari. But anyway, aside from that, E.T. is a name recognized worldwide of a quality character. So think about Godzilla. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you know who he is, you know? You might not even be a fan of E.T., but yeah, you've at least heard of the character. You probably have seen what E.T. looks like and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, the movie was also a success in terms of Academy Awards and stuff like that. The 1983 Academy Awards saw E.T. nominated for 9 Oscars, and it took home 4 of them for Best Original Score by John Williams, Best Sound Editing, and actually Best Visual Effects. John Williams' score is considered among the most recognizable in film history. It evokes emotions much like his work on Harry Potter and other. I mean, he made the Jaws theme, for crying out loud. So his contributions to cinema were honored by Queen Elizabeth II, who named him an honorary Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire. So yeah, and from what I understand, John Williams, I don't even think he's British, is he? So yeah, that gives you an idea of his impact. So some more fun facts here. E.T.'s design was inspired by a mix of Albert Einstein, Carl Sandburg, and a pug, the type of dog. And the film was shot mostly in chronological order to enhance the emotional authenticity of the child actors' performances. I guess Spielberg recognized that the children would probably do better if they filmed mostly in sequence. And as mentioned, Reese's Pieces became hugely popular after their prominent feature in the movie, proving that powerful product placement is a key moneymaker potentially. If you want to revitalize your product, get it into a movie or a TV show. And the same is true of music too. Like even though this movie didn't revitalize any hit songs, if you want renewed interest in a song, uh, placement in a movie in any era is a good idea, or a TV show or what have you. So I just want I just want to note this about the Reese's Pieces thing. It's kind of a funny idea. Imagine if the candy company had said yes without knowing all the details, only to discover ET using them as suppositories. Could you imagine that? Oh man, that would have been funny. Um, but I suppose it would have been inappropriate for the younger audience out there. You have to learn about suppositories when you grow up. But anyway, um, beyond being an emotional tale, E.T. contributes to the broader science fiction genre. It follows Spielberg's earlier alien centric film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, as being a good movie for the box office, and was undoubtedly influenced by Alien, Star Wars, and classic sci fi tropes that make us look through binoculars at the stars and wonder, or a telescope or whatever you've got. Maybe you just look up and you see the night sky as sort of a magical thing. I know when I'm out walking at night, I look up there sometimes, and if I see something like a shooting star, it pretty much improves my day. Even if I'm not feeling the best. If you look up and you see something like a shooting star, it just makes the day seem a little bit more magical and special or what have you. And I think that this movie kind of encourages that mentality in people. So, science fiction often tackles themes like technology versus nature, artificial intelligence versus humanity and the unknown depths of space. But E.T. adds something rare into the mix, which is just pure heartfelt emotion. So I think a lot of people, they saw this movie and they were moved by it. And all these decades later, E.T. is a cinematic treasure still. For a lot of people, it's a movie that reminds us of the beauty of friendship and the power of believing in something greater. So whether you saw it as a child or are introducing it to a new generation, maybe with kids of your own, it's a story that could continue to inspire. And well, that's about all I have to say about it. If you enjoyed this little journey into the ET universe, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into iconic films and let me know what's your favorite ET moment. So until next time, keep watching the skies. The aliens are out there and they're wagging their glowing fingers at you and telling you to stop whatever, sinful thing you're doing. They're teaming up with Santa Claus up there and they've got unicorns and cotton candy and all sorts of games and prizes up in their spaceships. So if they invite you up, go ahead and say yes. You're gonna have a real adventure, and hopefully, you're ready to pay the price, which is of course the anal probe. That's the inevitable price that you got to pay if you want to go on their ship and have all the perks. So, well, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here. Um, but anyway, uh, I hope you have enjoyed ET if you've watched it, and I hope you like this episode. If not, well, whatever. They can't all be zingers. So have a good one.